How is everybody doing today? I am trying something brand new and it's added headaches to my entire workflow, but if it works, it's gonna be awesome. And if it doesn't, well, then it sucks. But we're using two cameras. We've started using two cameras. In fact, you actually may have seen it in a video that just came out on the channel recently. And I'm essentially using my other Canon body with a lens and another microphone so that I can actually jump cut between two different angles pretty quickly if I wanted to, and the audio would be perfectly synced. And because they're both Canon cameras, their color science should be pretty close. That being said, it does definitely add a bit of work to me, but the idea is to get better videos for you guys. So let me know what you think about that first and foremost. Hello and welcome to A Slice of Pie, the semi-weekly Newsish show that we do on this channel. Let's roll that intro and get into it. How is everybody doing today? I honestly hope that you guys are, in good health and, good mindset, relaxed. I want you guys to be enjoying this content, and it seems that quite a lot of you guys are. We're actually starting to approach the 800 subscriber mark, and I haven't publicly said anything about it, but I am honestly blown away. Like, 2020 has been a pretty bad year for a lot of people, and to have our channel kind of just like gain this kind of momentum all of a sudden this year, like, thank you. I seriously want to thank all of you guys for that. But enough being kind of sappy. Let's actually talk about the tech and gaming industry, because we actually have a lot of topics to run through. Intel is not doing great. It's no surprise to you, the viewer, probably, because we've all seen this. AMD has started to kick their butt in the desktop and in the laptop markets, and now AMD is starting to move into the server market in a way that Intel is not able to compete. All of this has actually kind of become a problem for them, as they unfortunately are now going through a massive restructure following the announcement that they still cannot get to a new transistor node size. This dropped their stocks drastically and caused them to go through a massive emergency restructure, which is essentially corporate speak for we're firing a bunch of people so that we can try to fix the problem. Or save face. In most cases, it's actually to save face, unfortunately. So Intel is not doing great, but they did something this week that I gotta call them out on. Intel, unfortunately, they did it again. They did that thing where they claimed that they're better than AMD at productivity workloads by using real world applications. Unfortunately, much like before, they cherry pick their results based off of what actually performs best on their hardware. And we can talk about it all day. Like, Premiere does better with Intel, but After Effects does better with AMD. So are you going to save your project in Premiere and then export to After Effects, or are you going to use the more intensive task with your CPU and then use the less intensive task that you're not going to see as big of a difference with your Intel CPUs? Essentially, without getting too far off topic, like, it's a trade-off. Productivity has always been a trade-off, but Intel, you really need to stop the marketing around productivity or real world productivity apps, because Blender is a real world productivity app that I use on the daily. I use it all the time for this channel. Right now, this kind of behavior it screams desperation. Ryzen 5000 series chips have actually been seen in engineering samples, and they're exciting for a number of reasons. One of them is actually specifically the Ryzen 9 5950X, which was spotted with a 4.8 gigahertz targeted boost clock. Now, the targeted boost clock is what AMD allows without overclocking. And if that is final, it will mean that reaching 5 gigahertz will be all the more attainable. But since it's an engineering sample, there's actually a really good chance that 5 gigahertz might be the targeted boost clock, because this does sound a lot like the marketing that they would do. 5 gigahertz, 5000 series, X times better than the 4000 series. And it's just incredible to actually see this kind of performance and this kind of gain year after year from AMD, because it's only been like, what, a year and a half since the 4000 series parts launched? So really cool stuff all around in that regard. I want to make a quick update on something that we talked about last week. Last week, we specifically talked about the AMD APUs and how they were going to be used in OEM systems. And for the most part, that is still true. But a couple of business supply chains have actually listed the parts alone without a warranty, which means that in hindsight, you're probably going to be able to find them on things like Amazon through a third-party seller who isn't going to offer a warranty because AMD is not selling them as anything but an OEM part. So you might be able to get your hands on them sooner rather than later. And if you can get your hands on them, then just remember, you will not have a warranty the entire time that you're using it. Speaking of parts though, that again, you're probably not going to buy or really want to use, there is a new Radeon Pro graphics card for Macs, specifically the Radeon Pro 5700 XT. And what makes it a Pro version? Well, it's got 16 gigabytes of VRAM. So that means, yeah, that would actually help with professional level workloads, and specifically tile-based renderers or even Premiere Pro using open acceleration, because you know, that's a thing that you can do. So essentially, there are a lot of reasons why you might actually want to get it, but it is a Mac exclusive right now. And unlike what I thought would have happened with those Mac-based GPUs, they really haven't moved their way over to PC. So it might just be that AMD, due to how they work with Apple, is just really not pushing for it to be a consumer product on PC. And I think this is the last AMD story on here. Big Navi is coming in November. Well, possibly coming in November. We might actually see Big Navi in November with pretty much just the standard blower version CPU cooler. It doesn't look like the AIBs actually have the card yet, which means supply would be pretty limited in November. But if AMD is really committed to hitting a 2020 release date, it will most likely have to be in that month. That being said, it's actually reported that next month, NVIDIA will be launching their 3000 series RTX cards. So that's not necessarily set in stone, but the rumors are pretty accurate on this one, like pretty detailed, to the point that I would suspect that they are true. Essentially, NVIDIA is going to be launching the 3080 and the 3080 Ti next month, and then like the 3070, 3070 Ti the month after that, and then in November they would do the 3060 and 3060 Ti's. So essentially every month for like the next 3 months, they would be launching a new GPU. And if AMD is going to be competing with them, it would make sense that they would be actually launching them around the same time. Actually, there is one more AMD story that I do want to talk about. AMD GPUs have a higher RMA rate than NVIDIA ones. Now this story was picked up by a couple of different places, and it actually makes a lot of sense. You guys know for a fact that the most popular video on this channel is us working on fixing AMD GPUs, like specifically like changing the driver settings so that it works more stably. So since 70,000, 80,000 people have watched that video, and there's like several thousand likes and comments like about that video, we know that this is a pretty big problem. It's a big problem without a lot of solutions, and we just so happen to get to one. If somebody didn't find our video, they may have RMA'd that card, and it's pretty much something that we're seeing kind of over and over again. Like, I actually fixed a problem recently with somebody else's PC where whenever they went full screen, the screen would just start flickering black, just constant black. And it turns out that FreeSync was screwing it up, but not on the main monitor, but on the secondary monitor. So like, there's so many weird things that currently are happening with AMD GPUs that I can understand why they would have a higher RMA rate. That being said, this is actually a piece of evidence that we're going to be using in a video that we are going to be doing soon, because I actually have been investigating, like seriously investigating and testing what the heck happened. Why did our AMD GPUs have these issues? Where did they come from? And how did AMD miss them? And why is it only a certain percentage of the actual GPU population of AMD GPUs? So I actually have all the evidence I need, and we'll be scripting a video about that soon. And I will say probably in like 2-ish weeks, we'll be doing the actual video on it. Are you ready for 4K 120 Hertz? Because Asus says you are. They're releasing a monitor with a new HDMI standard, HDMI 2.1. And technically GPUs can support it now, but there is nothing that can run 4K at 120 Hertz that I know about. You might be able to do it in some lower, less demanding games. Like if you were to play something like Half-Life, you might be able to get it to 4K 120 Hertz. But you're definitely not going to be doing that in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I don't think I've ever even seen that game that high at that resolution. So it is definitely not something that the general public is going to be able to either use or really afford, but it is kind of an interesting idea that we're going to be getting that soon. And Asus is actually marketing it as if it's for the next generation consoles, which is cool and all, but I don't think they're going to be hitting 4K 120 Hertz either. It's essentially like a really cool product that's slightly useless in the current market. The battle for ARM is heating up. We heard rumors that NVIDIA was interested in acquiring ARM, buying the company outright. We also heard rumors that SoftBank was willing to sell ARM, which is the majority shareholder in the company. But now TSMC and Foxconn are both in the running to buy ARM. So essentially, like, ARM is in a bidding war. It's kind of interesting. SoftBank is going to make out like a bandit because the numbers that they're projecting are absolutely massive. And this really does change really the entire future of like Android mobile processing for the most part. ARM is the instruction set that almost every single Android phone and every single iPhone uses an ARM-based processor. So it's like ARM is crucial to how mobile phones work. And now we're even seeing ARM-based laptops and things of that nature. So it's like whoever actually controls this is going to be controlling a lot in the industry. All right, I wanted to talk about this because this is actually a good idea with bad execution. So Gigabyte is launching the Z490 Aorus Master Water Force motherboard, and it has an AIO. The water block is connected to an AIO. Now, the reason I'm saying this is a good idea with bad execution is because, well, AIOs fail. AIOs will eventually die, and unfortunately, there is no user serviceability on AIOs because it's most likely an Asetek unit, and Asetek will not sell you the parts to fix it. As opposed to the other motherboards that we've highlighted on this show before, which have custom block solutions, which allow you to use custom tubing. Because as crazy as these builds are, there are a lot of points in which I know personally I could fix things. Like, I know for a fact that I can replace the pump in every single one of my reservoirs on the 2 systems that are using them. And I can fix just about any issue in these PCs by myself. And if I have to buy a specialized AIO from Asetek, a company that is notoriously un-user friendly, I'm gonna end up the creek without paddle. So this board has a finite life entirely because Gigabyte tried to make it easier, but in turn made it harder in the future. All right, and then let's go ahead and really quickly touch on a couple of games that I wanna highlight. Pikmin 3 is coming to the Nintendo Switch, and it's about time. Like, honestly, at this point, it's about time. They also removed it from the Wii U eShop, which kind of weird. They didn't do that with any of the other games that they ported, so it's definitely a bit odd. Obsidian has launched a new game, and yes, Obsidian, the ones who like launched nothing up until Microsoft acquired them. Now they're launching game after game. They did the Outer Worlds, and now they got a new game called Grounded, which looks a lot like Raft, except you're as small as an ant, It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids mixed with like Raft is like how I would describe it. I personally actually kind of want to try it out. It's a survival game. They also sponsored a bunch of PC builds here on YouTube, so definitely you probably have seen it, but it looks cool. You know, I'll give it to them. It looks like a cool game. And then I do want to just really quickly address an elephant in the room. This is dark matter. It's not in the same case. That is because of stuff that I'm actually going to talk about in another video. I actually kind of have a bit of a rant about the Thermaltake Core P3. That's in editing right now. But this case definitely does fit the name dark matter. So there's actually a build on this also coming. We also have like a video about this case coming. So like we have a lot that is actually filmed. I just got to edit it at this point. So yeah, we're going to end on that note. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe. I do this video every 2 weeks. So yeah, in 2 weeks, I will see you guys again if this is the only thing that you like to watch. But if you like other tech stuff, check out the rest of our content. Thank you guys again. Wolfie, out.